Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Alright, last week we talked about the obstacle of Maya. Okay, last week we talked about Maya. So on the screen this week, you're not going to see my Buddha, which will be a blessing for you all. You will see the screen with the actual pothi that we're going through. And you'll see how much I actually miss out of the pothi as well. But anyway, last week the sakhi we had, which was quite long, was about Krishna Bhagwan and Arjan saying that Maya cannot do anything to him. And then Krishna Bhagwan puts his Maya on him and Arjan gets confused and lost in Maya. And then he gets saved by Krishna Bhagwan and gets brought out of that. Anyway, so the Panktiyan, Gurbani the Pankti after that, at the bottom of this, what you can see on the screen is Jhuti Maya Sabjag Bandhya Me Ram Namat Sukh Paya. So in this false Maya, false illusion of the world, Sabjag Bandhya, the whole world is stuck in there. Me Ram Namat Sukh Paya. By doing meditation on Ram, on God, then I get sukh, I get peace. Jhuti Maya Aapandaya Jo Nalni Prabh Suva. Yeah, so in this Maya, we get stuck, and it's like a trap that we built ourselves, so we get stuck in there. Kaise man tarhega rahe sansar sagar bikhe ko bana jhuti maya de ke poola re mana. So that's what Namdev is saying. How will my mind get across this world, this ocean of bikhe? Bik means poison, yeah. So this ocean of poison and this jungle of poison. Jhuti maya de ke poola re mana. Yeah, so I get confused, I get lost, pool in this jungle of Maya, of illusion. Yeah, and then the next Shabad, I think it's Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. Yeah, it is Nasri Mahalanama. So the Shabad is Sadhu, Eho Jag Param Pulana, Ram Nam Ka Simran Shodya Maya Hath Bikanna. Sadhu, so sons of the world, Eho Jag Param Pulana, this world creates doubt in us and gets us confused. Ram Nam Ka Simran Shodya, when we forget God's name and his meditation, Maya Hath Bekanna, and that Maya in our hand confuses us and gets us lost in the world. I'm not going to carry on doing the arth of that Shabd, so I'm going to go on to the next page, page 72. So the Shabds continue explaining what Maya is. So, is prakar Maya Rupi Pratham Bandhan Drishtant Sahat Nirupan Kara Ab Jeev Bhaav Rupi Dusra Bandhan Nirupan Karte Hai. So what he's saying is, this first obstacle of Maya has just been described. Now the second bandhan, where is it? Ab Jeev Bhaav. So thinking we exist as a being, that's the second obstacle, so that's what's going to be described now. So Jio Bhaav Roop Bandhan Narad Ji ko Sukhdev Ji ko Arjan ko Swet Ketu Ad Aneko ko Hua Hai. So what that means is, a lot of these people who are bhagats as well, famous people, so Narad Muni, Sukhdev, Arjan, who we just spoke about, Sev Ketu, he's one of the authors, I think, the Upanishads, yeah. But all these people thought they existed as beings and they got lost in Maya. So Narad Ji Jeev Bhaav Roop Bandhan se dukhi ho kar Sant Kumaro ko saran jata paya. So he's saying Narad Muni, being upset with being a being, thinking he exists and not realizing that he's actually one with God, because of that obstacle he gets pained and in anguish, and because of that he then goes to, he says Sant Kumaro ko. Sant Kumar is one of the sons of Brahma. So the sons' names were Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan, Sant Kumar. So he just said Sant Kumaro here, so it means basically all, he went to his sons. So he goes to their sanctuary to learn. और जाकर कहता पया है, हे भगवान मैंने सुना है आत्मज्ञानी शोक से तर जाता है. So what he's saying is, Narad Muni is saying, I have heard, oh God, so he's calling the sons of Brahma God, yeah, and he's saying, I've heard that a person who knows their self, their soul, Atmajnani, who knows their self, who's self-realized, shok se tar jata hai. Shok here means basically pain and anguish of the world. So dukh, so it's saying that they get away from dukh and their anguish. Or मैं शोक करता हूँ ताते मैं अज्ञानी हूँ. So he's saying I am confused and I am dukhi, so that's why I am ignorant as well. So because of my ignorance I'm in dukh, so is what he's saying. So मेरे को शोक से पार करो. So get me away from this anguish that I'm going through. तब संत कुमारों ने नारद को कहा, हे नारद, Uma Yane Brahm Sukh Sarup hai. So what they're saying to Narad, so Sant Kumar and the brothers, they're saying, realize that God is the fountain of all peace and all pleasure, और ब्रह्म से भिन्न दुख रूप है. And what's different from God is actually what gives you pain or anguish. So saying that जब तक तू अपने को ब्रह्म स्वरूप निश्चय न करेगा, so until the point when you realize that you are one with God, तब तक तू दुखी और दीन रहेगा. So you will say in anguish and pain until that point, and you will remain a slave. Deen means a slave, so slave to other people. In terms of your senses, a slave to yourself and your own mind. So तू जीव भाव को छोड़ के, so relinquish your thinking that you exist as a being. Brahma bhaav ko प्राप्त हो, and then so stop loving yourself but develop love for God. अपने को परिपूर्ण समझेगा, then you will realize that you are complete and full like God. तब तू सुखी होवेगा, and then you will get sukhi, you will get peace, happiness. और इसी जीव भाव से दुखी होकर सुखदेव राजा जनक की शरण में गया. So he's saying Sukhdev, who was a Prana Rikhi as well, Prana Sant, he goes to Raja Janak, who's a king but also a Bhagat, and he goes into his sharan. So Sukhdev does, Sukhdev Muni, to also relinquish his dukh of not knowing God. और ये ही उपदेश राजा जनक ने देकर सुखी किया. So the same teaching was given by Raja Janak to Sukhdev Muni, and he made him happy and get pleasure from God. इसी तरह अर्जुन की शोक से दुखी होकर भगवान से कृष्ण से कहने लगा है. So in the same way, Arjan did this prarthana to Krishna Bhagwan. Hey Bhagwan, मैं बड़ा दुखी हूँ. So he's saying, Hey Bhagwan to Krishna Bhagwan, Hey God, I am in much pain and anguish. मेरे को शोक से पार करो. Get me away from this anguish and pain. भगवान ने कहा, भूमि का राज अथवा त्रिलोकी का राज ले ले. So Bhagwan, Krishna Bhagwan, rather than giving the right answer, Krishna Bhagwan doing what he does best, he says to him, he goes, why don't you just have the kingdom of the whole of the three worlds instead? I'll give you that. ते अपने शोक को आप ही दूर कर ले. Yeah, so then he's saying, well, then you can get rid of your pain and anguish by being the king of all three worlds. So the three worlds is this earth, the core of this earth, which is the patal, and the dimensions which exist connected to the earth, which is the heavens and other things as well. So that's the three worlds. Anyway, yeah, and then Arjun said this back to him. Yeah, so this is the Bhagavad Gita. I'm not going to read the Bhagavad because I'm going to read it wrong. Yeah, so at the bottom of this page, Arjun कहता है, हे भगवान, आपसे बिना मैं त्रिलोकी में कोई नहीं देखता. So Arjun saying, in the three worlds, I don't see anyone but you, Krishna Bhagwan. I don't see anyone else. I've got no love for anyone else. जो मेरे शोक को दूर करे. And I can't see anyone else in the three worlds who can actually get rid of this anguish and pain apart from you. कैसे शोक है जो इंद्रियाद सर्व शरीर को सुखाने वाला है. So this pain, it basically it's destroying my whole body is what he's saying. He's saying it's drying his body, but it means it's killing him off. भूमि का राज क्या त्रैलोकी का राज पाकर भी मैं अपने शोक को दूर नहीं कर सकता. So Arjun saying, even if I get the kingdom of the world and the three worlds, I still can't get rid of this pain and anguish. इस वास्ते मैं आपका शिष्य हूँ. So he's saying, I am your Sikh, or I am your disciple. Shish means the same as Sikh, so it means disciple. I am your disciple. He's saying to Krishna Bhagwan, मेरे को सिक्ख्या देवो. So he's saying, give me teaching to get across from this. ऐसे अर्जुन ने अनेक वचन कहे. So in this way, Arjun is doing different ardasa or different बेनतियाँ to him. भगवान कहने लगे, तू अपने आप को ना जान कर शोक करता है. So Krishna Bhagwan in the end says, you're in anguish and pain because you don't actually know yourself, so you're not self-realized. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Adhyaya 2, Slok 11 is there as a pankti. I'm going to give you the arth which is underneath. So जो शोक के लायक नहीं, उनका तू शोक करता है. So what he's saying is, you're doing anguish over things which shouldn't give you anguish. और बुद्धिमानों के तौर बोलता है, पर बुद्धिमान नहीं. So he's saying you're speaking in intellect, but your intellect isn't correct. इत्यादि दूसरों अध्याय के समाप्ति तक शोक निवृत्त के अर्थ अनेक वचन कहे और प्रमाण. So he's saying in the next chapter, he then tells him how to get across this. So Janapadarth Dubda Khove. So this is Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sri Rag. Janapadarth Dubda Khove. So he's saying your life gets wasted in duality of the world. So not knowing which is right and wrong, which is God and which is not. Apan Chinas Parama Parama Rove. Yeah. So not knowing yourself, you cry in doubt. Keheto parto sunto ek tij dharma tarni tar teg. Yeah, so you say, you read and study, you hear about one God, but then you should get peace and believe in God and make that your asra and everything. You pothi pek kare pek dhari antar trishna fire ahankari apna chine bhaji hari sas tije pashan gauri rag. So he's saying we take up different garbs and dresses, antar trishna fire ahankari, but even though in those different roles that we conduct ourselves, we're still being in the desires of the world, and we're still in our ego, apna chine bhaji hari, and we lose this chance of human life because we didn't realize who we really were. अर्जन के कहा, हे भगवान, शोक निवृत्त का कोई एक ही साधन बतलाओ. भगवान कहने लग गए. So he's saying, Arjun is, hey Krishna Bhagwan, tell me one method how to get out of this world. Yeah. So again, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, slok 29 and 30. So that's given there. I'm not going to read that, but I'll read what's underneath in the earth. योग युक्ता मता समदर्शी पुरख अपने को सर्वभूतों में स्थित और अपने में सर्वभूतों को देखता है. So what he's saying is a person who's actually one with God, yeah. Samadarshi means someone who sees everyone in the same light, yeah. अपने को सर्वभूतों में स्थित और अपने में सर्वभूतों को देखता है. So what he's saying is that person who is one with God, he sees God within himself and also sees God within everyone else as well. So he sees, or she sees, unity of one God in everything that they see, so they see the equal God. जो मेरे को सब जगह देखता है और सब को मेरे में देखता है. So it's saying, carry on from that. So that person who sees me in everything and sees God in everything, उसका मैं नाश नहीं करता. So Bhagwan Krishna is saying, God then cannot destroy that person, और ना वे मेरे को नाश करता है, and then they don't destroy or try destroying God, Krishna Bhagavan in this example. इस प्रकार जब तेरे को सर्वात्म दर्शन होगा. So what Krishna Bhagavan is saying is, when you get darshan and you see God in everything and in yourself, yeah, यानी जब तो अपने को परिपूर्ण समझेगा. So when you realize that you are complete yourself within yourself as you are one with God, तब तेरा शोक दूर होगा. Then your anguish and pain will go away. इसी तरह एक उत्तम अधिकारी कर्म उपासना करता हुआ. So it's now talking about one person who's basically got the virtues of someone to meet God, yeah. They're in devotion to get to this point, yeah. दुखी होकर गुरु शरण में आया. So this person, even though they're spiritual and they've got virtues, they're in anguish and pain, and they've come to their guru. और कहने लगा, and then he said, हे भगवान, मैं संसार के दुख से बड़ा दुखी हूँ. So he's saying is, from the pain of the world I am in much anguish. दुख निवृत्त और परमानंद की प्राप्त का कोई उपाय बतलाओ. So he's saying, tell me how I can get rid of this dukh and how I can get to Paramanand. Paramanand is the supreme bliss of God. अगर कहो कर्म उपासना कर तो परमान विचार सागर. So now it's got panktiya from a granth called Vichar Sagar, and it's telling the person to act in karma, in devotion, acts of devotion. Yeah. So I'm going to read again. I'm not going to read the Vichar Sagar panktiya there because I don't understand them. I'm not going to lie here. I've studied the granth, but that's the English translation. But I'll read what's underneath. So Tika, Sri Guruji कहते हैं. So this is what it actually says anyway. So the Guru is saying, हे शिष्य, तेरे को जो परमानंद की प्राप्त और दुख निवृत्त की इच्छा है. So what you want to get to, student of mine, you want to get to Paramanand, so you want to get the supreme bliss, and you want to get rid of your dukh की इच्छा है, so you got the desire to do that. So केवल परम जन्य है, yeah, जन्य है, तू अपने से भूल गया है. So what it's saying is, realize this, that you're in doubt, yeah, you forgot who you really are. अपने आप को जानता नहीं, you do not realize who you are, so you got no self-realization. कहे तो तू खुद परमानंद है, but you are actually supreme bliss yourself. तेरे में तीन काल दुख नहीं. So in all three time phases of the present, the past and the future, you've got no dukh in you, you've got no pain or anguish in you actually. फिर जो तेरे को परमानंद की प्राप्त और दुख निवृत्ति की इच्छा है, सो केवल परम जन्य है. So what that means is, you just got a doubt that you're in dukh, but actually you got Paramanand within you already, you're just not realizing it's there. जैसे कस्तूरी मिर्ग के बीच में है परंतु ना जानता हुआ जगह जगह ढूंढता है. So it's given an example of a deer. A deer has musk on its stomach and it goes to look for that musk. It can smell it, but it doesn't never realize it's actually on itself. So the deer goes around in the jungle and the forest looking for that musk always, but it never realizes it's actually on itself. And it's saying in the same way, we've actually got that Paramananda within us, that God within us, and that's already there, just that we're confused, that we don't know it's there. मुंडो भुल्ली नानका फिर जन्म मुयास कस्तूरी के भूल रहे गंदे डूम पे यास. So that's Basant Bani Bhagat Ravidas ji ki hai. So mundo pulli. So saying from the start we forgot, or we forgot our root. Nanaka fir jan muyas, and then we come back again and again into birth. Kasturi ke pulre gande doom pe yas. And he's saying in the same way that a deer forgets where the musk is actually under its own stomach, we've also forgot that we're actually one with God, and we've got stuck in the world and in the mud of the world and the gand of the world. Ghar hi meh amrit bharpoor hai manmukh sadh na paye hai. So he's saying ghar hi meh amrit bharpoor hai. So in our body, ghar here means your body, you've got full amrit within you. Manmukh sadh na paye. Those people who follow their mind, they don't actually taste the amrit. So jo kasture mirg na jane bharam da bharam bhulaya. So again the example of the mirg, the deer. Amrit aj bik sangrah karte aap khoya. So we forget the amrit within us and we go into the poison. Bik sangrah, bik is poison. Karte aap khoya. And God has got us to forget this, or we forgot it ourselves. Gurmukh virle soji petina andar brahm dikhaya. So those virle, those few and far between the Gurmukhs who face God, they see God within themselves. Tanman sital hoya rasna har sad aya. Then their body, their mind becomes purified. Rasna on their tongue, they taste that God. Sabde hi na upajay, sabde mel milaya. And then that shabd of the naam of God, it comes within them, gets flowered within us, and through that shabd then they meet God. Bir sabde sab jagbo rana birtha janma gavaya. Without that shabd, the whole world is lost and you lose your life. Amrit eko sabd hai nanak gurmukh paya. So amrit eko sabd hai, the amrita, immortality was in the shabd of God. Nanak Gurmukh paya, the Gurmukhs realize that param mein dusra parman. I'm not sure what this means anyway, but we'll do the sakhi. Jaise singh aja sang dole, apan chine pram sang pule. So this is the second story now, or second example. So ek jungle mein ek gadriya pero charata tha. Okay, so a shepherd is doing his sheep or herding his sheep or whatever they do, था. एक समय उसको जंगल में छोटा सा सिंह का बच्चा मिला. So grazing his sheep, he meets a small tiger.
Is it lion?
Sing?
Sing is tiger.
Tiger really. It's tiger really.
Tiger cub.
Yeah. So he meets a tiger cub. उसने उसको लाकर पेड़ों के साथ छोड़ दिया. Jaitinda Singh was right.
What was doing the sheep?
Doing the sheep. Isn't it? उसने उसको लाकर पेड़ों के साथ छोड़ दिया. So he got the tiger to mix him with the sheep. और वो उनके साथ रहने लगा. So then this cub tiger starts living within the sheep. एक समय उसी जंगल में एक बड़ा भारी सिंह गरजता हुआ उन पैरों की तरफ दौड़ा और भेड़ा वहां से भाग गई. So once a big full-grown tiger came, started roaring and came towards the sheep. सिंह का बच्चा भी उनके साथ दौड़ते दो एक तालाब पर पहुंचा तो अपनी परछाई उसने देख ली. So the cub also ran, and then when he got to a lake, he saw his own reflection. जब सिंह भी दूसरे किनारे पास आ पहुंचा तो वह बच्चा सिंह को अपना ही स्वरूप समझ उस सिंह से ना डरा. So the tiger cub no longer gets scared of that fully grown tiger because he realizes that the tiger looks actually like him. दूसरे सिंह ने आकर उसको कहा तू शेर है. And another tiger came along and said that you are actually a tiger, you are not a sheep. मेरे नाल मिल के garjana kar. Yeah, so he's saying, come with me and roar also. Jab garjana kari, so when he roared, तो उसको निश्चय हुआ, so he then believed, मैं शेर हूँ, he believed he is a tiger, जो उसको बकरी रिड का परम सी वो दूर हो गया. So he forgot, he realized that actually he's not a sheep, yeah, or a goat. Bakri it says here.
Changed it.
Yes, change it now, but it was that. Anyway, तैसे ही शिष्य तेरे को मैं जीव हूँ. Yeah, so in the same way, he's saying, student of mine, yeah, you believe that you are a Jeev, you are a being, yeah, parma ho gaya, you've got this doubt or this confusion, hai, tu Brahma hai, so you are God. So in the same way that this tiger cub got confused with the goats or the sheep and thought he was one of them, he actually was a tiger all along. In the same way, we actually are not beings, living beings, we are actually one with God, and we always have been. तू अपने जीव भाव को क्यों नहीं छोड़ता? So the Guru is asking, why don't you relinquish your belief of being a being? जीव भाव छोड़ मैं ब्रह्म हूँ ये निश्चय कर. So he's saying, relinquish your thinking of that you're a being and always meditate on believing that you are God, that you are one with God, yeah, and believing that firmly, yeah. चार पुकारे ना तू मान है, खट पी एका बात बखाने. Yeah, so the char pukare na tu manne. So char pukare he could be the 4 Veds, yeah, telling you, yeah, but you still don't listen to them. Khatapi eka baat vakhane. Khat is 6 Sheshastra. They also teach you one thing, yeah. Das asti mil eko kehya. So that's 18 Simratiyan, yeah. They're also teaching about one God. Napi yogi ped na lehya. So it's saying, still you yogi, yeah, who believes in all these things, yeah, you still haven't realized that one God, yeah. हे शिष्य तेरे को दुर्वासा must be Vasudev, na? It says Vamdev jar, I don't know. दुर्वासा वामदेव jar भारत तथा नारद जी आदि ऋषि ब्रह्म रूप कहते हैं. Yeah, so he's saying that these different rishis, so these different sadhu sants also say you are one with God. Yeah, so Durvasa rishi Vamdev, I don't know, Vamdev can't be it. I've never heard that, but anyway, yeah, and then Narad Muni as well, yeah. तू जीव भाव को क्यों नहीं छोड़ता? Yeah, so he's saying they're all teaching you, yeah, that you're one with God. Why don't you stop believing that you're a being? दत्तात्रेय व्यास जी वशिष्ठ कपिलादि तथा राम कृष्ण आदि अवतार और सुखदेव आदि मुनीश्वर तेरे को ब्रह्म रूप कहते हैं. So those are all names of people who have been different prophets or different bhagats in the past. Yeah, so they're all saying the same thing. Tu jeev bhaav kyo nahi chhodta. Yeah, so believe that you're God and stop believing that you're being. In sab ke vachan ko sat maan kar jeev bhaav chhodte main brahm hu ye nischay kar. So relinquishing that, believing that you're God, you become God. Yeah, he shish अष्टावकर मुनि के राजा जनक को भी यही उपदेश करया है. So Ashtabakar was the guru of Janaka Raja. Ashtabakar, Asht means 8, so he had 8 folds in his body. So if you see someone who's physically deformed, they might have different folds. So someone with a hunchback, that'd be 1 fold. But Ashtabakar had actually 8 folds in his body. So someone we all knew in this room, he had 3 folds, yeah. But this guy had 8. Anyway, yeah, Ashtabakar, yeah. We'll just go to the arts. So page 77. Panch sloko ki, yeah. So here Raja, so it's going through the 5 sloks which we've just dodged. हे राजा जनक तू देह इंद्री प्राण मन बुद्धि इनके संग से और इनके धर्मों के संग से रहत है. So Ashtabakar is teaching Raja Janak, yeah, that your body, your senses, your life force, your mind, your intellect, yeah, that you are actually distinct from all of these things, yeah. और तुम परिपूर्ण होने से क्रिया रहित है. Yeah, so you are not part of all these acts, yeah. So God in our body, even the Atma, always stays nirlep, never gets involved in any of the acts, yeah. So saying you are like that. और तू सबका प्रकाशन होने करके स्वयं प्रकाश माया रहित अर्थात शुद्ध है. So that means is that you are actually the creator of everything, and you are self-reliant. The Atma is self-reliant, so we say bang, and you are free of creation and the illusion of Maya, and you are pure. यही तेरे को बंधन है. This is what's the obstacle which is stopping you, yeah? जो तू अपने को कर्ता मान कर समाध का अभ्यास करता है. Yeah, so what it's saying is, you think you're doing things, yeah? And that's through the belief of that, that's what you've started now believing, that doubt, yeah? Which actually doesn't happen. God's the doer of everything. And the Jeev, so we think we do things, God does it all, yeah? Does that make sense? Na tu Brahman Khatri ve Sudra Ad Varn hai. So he's saying, you ain't a Jat, yeah, the favourite one, but he says, yeah, Brahman, Khatri, warrior, you're not a priest, Khatri, a warrior, Vash, a worker, yeah, Shudra Ad, yeah, so the low caste, which includes the Jats as well, yeah, Na Brahmachari, I'm not laughing at that, I'm only joking. But there could be part of the Shudra as well, or the Vash, I'm not sure, but anyway. Na brahmachari grast ban prast sannyasad asrami hai. So he's saying you are also a brahmachari, which is a person who's, what's the word? Celibate. Nor are you a householder, a grasti, ban prast, nor do you live in the jungles or the forests. Sannyasad, nor are you a person who's now forgotten the world and relinquished it all. Yeah, you're none of these things. Na tu kisi indriyo ka vishay hai, nor are you bound by the vices of any of your senses. Tu asang, so you are separate from this. Nirakar, you're not part of any element. Sare jagat ke dekhne wala hai. You are the person, or that God that sees the whole of the world. Yeah, aise jaan kar sukhi ho ja. So realize this and become of pleasure, of peace, happiness. So this is the third one now. Dharma, adharma, yane, punna, paap, sukh, dukh, karta, bhogta, pana, ye man buddh ke dharma hai. Tum vyapak par puran ke ye dharma nahi. Yeah, so it's saying being religious, dharma, adharma, or righteous or unrighteous, yeah, so wrong or right. Yane, punna, good actions, paap, bad actions, sukh, happiness, peace, pleasure, dukh, anguish, pain, karta, bhogta, pana, also then like doing things or enjoying things, e man buddha ke dharma hai. So what it's saying is these things, they're all states of your mind and your intellect. Yeah, so these are all stuck in your mind and your intellect, these things are, yeah. Tuma vyapak parapuran ke ye dharma nahi. That God, and which you are, who exists in everything, these are not things that he's bound by. Yeah, na tu karta hai, nor are you a doer. Na tu bhogta hai, nor are you enjoyer. Na kisi joni mein aata jata hai, nor do you come in any life form or go. Yeah, so it says ajuni hana in Moolmantar, God doesn't come and go. Tu sada mukt saroop hai, you are forever liberated, and that's your saroop. So akal murat, yeah. हे राजा जनक जैसे जल से जुदा लहरे जग बुद्ध बदे नहीं होते. Yeah, so it's saying Raja Janak, in the same way in water, yeah, the ripples or the waves or the jug, you know, the little creation of like bubbles on top, Anna, they're not separate from that water. Yeah? Taise tumhare se juda vishv sansar nahi. The world is not separate from you or one with it, yeah. क्योंकि ये विश्व संसार तुम्हारे से ही पैदा हुआ है, because you have created that world, because you are one with God. जैसे विचार करने से वस्त्र तंतु स्वरूप है, तैसे विचार करने से ये जगत आत्म स्वरूप है, ऐसे निश्चय कर. So it's saying, in the way that clothes, they have cotton in them, and if you go down to the cotton root here, and then it gets break and break, so you find like the actual root, yeah, the threads and stuff. So it's saying, in the same way, you need to realize everything on top is just illusion, and underneath that you have to get to the root, which is the Atma, which is the soul. Ab Raja Janak apna anubhav dikhata hai. So Raja Janak then shows his mind thinking, or his stage. Yeah. Oh bada ascharj hai, ye jagat mithya hai, aur mere vastav roop ke agyan se mere mein hi pratit ho raha hai. जैसे सीपी के अज्ञान से सीपी में ही चांदी मालूम हो रही है. So this is Raja Janak saying he's realized what he's told him. Yeah, So he's saying God is extraordinary, but ascharya hai, ye jagat mithya hai. This world is mithya, which means it's mythical, it's false. Aur mere vastav roop ke, and because of my roop ke agyan se mere mein hi prateet ho raha hai. So I only think of myself being existing in ignorance. जैसे सीपी के अज्ञान से सीपी में ही चांदी मालूम हो रही है. So he's saying a panda might be made of silver, yeah, but you see the panda, you don't see the silver. But you need to go to the silver rather than the panda. ठीक है. और रस्सी के अज्ञान से रस्सी में ही सर्प मालूम हो रहा है. So he's saying you might see in the dark a rope and you think it's a snake. When you turn the light on, you actually realize it is a rope. Yeah. So what it's saying is, in this way, yeah. और सूरज नारायण के किरणों ने अज्ञान से किरने में ही मृग तृष्णा का जाल प्रतीत हो रहा है. मृग तृष्णा का जाल is basically like a what do you get in a mirage in it? A mirage, yeah. Yeah, so it's saying it's like seeing a mirage, yeah. Saying it's like what I've thought of the world, Hannah. That's what it really is. मेरे से ही जगत पैदा हुआ है. Yeah, so it's through me, through my Atma, the worlds come about. और मेरे में ही लय हो जाता है. And through my Atma, again through me, that it gets destroyed. जैसे जल से लहरा उठकर जल में ही लीन हो जाती है. So in the same way that the waves or the ripples in water come back to the water and become one. और जैसे सोने से भूषण पैदा होकर सोने में ही लीन हो जाता है. So talk about jewelry, gold jewelry. It might be made into different earrings or rings or whatever it is, but afterwards, when you melt it down, it's just gold, isn't it? It loses the form of the different types of jewelry. So what it's saying is, in the same way, we've got to go back to that one God. Gyan ge gyata dhyan te dhyata. Oh man, oh no, it's too long for you. Gyan, wisdom. Ge is what you're trying to realize. Gyata is the person actually who's trying to take on that wisdom. Dhyan is concentration. Te is what you call concentrating. Dhyata is the person concentrating. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you, Gopi. You didn't say anything. Parman parme parmata. Yeah, I don't know what the parman is like example here, but anyway. इत्यात्रि कुटी रूप द्वैत वास्तव में नहीं है. अज्ञान से जिस मेरे में यह प्रतीत हो रहा से निरंजन जाने माया रहते मैं हूँ परमान. So he's saying is God is free from all of this maya in the world and he is always there. ठीक है? And then it gives this pankti at the end, yeah? We're going to go and do the arth. Mila Narayan apne manoratho pura ram raja. So he's saying you've realized your task of coming to the world, you've met God. Tathi pi te paramaki. So it's saying basically like a wall of confusion or doubt has got destroyed. Pet the Guru Sura Ram Raja by meeting the Guru Sura, the warrior Guru. Yeah, oh God. Puran Gur Pae, Purabha Likhaya Sab Nid Deen, de Allah. Yeah, the pothi is wrong here, I think. Yeah, and it's saying you realize through the true Guru, yeah, and you've met your task of your Purabha Likhaya Sab Nid Deen, de Allah. So the God has been merciful upon us and got us to realize Him. Ad Mad Ant Prabhu is Sundar Guru Gopala. So that God who exists at the start, in the middle, and at the end, yeah, we realize that beautiful God who's the sustainer of the world. Sukh Sahaj Ananda Kanere, and you've got Sukh, you've got peace, happiness. Sahaj, which is peace as well. Ananda, bliss, Kanere, you've got this in bountiful amounts. Pata the Pavana Sadhu Tura, and the Tura of the sadhus, the dust of the feet of the saints, yeah, it liberates the people who've committed sins. Patat Pavan, that can be Guru Sahib as well, obviously. Har Mile Narayan Nanaka Manoratho Pura. Yeah. So if you meet that God Narayana, yeah, you've obtained the task, you've fulfilled your task of human life. So Prabh Dur Nahi Prabh Tu Hai. Yeah. So it's saying that God isn't far, it is who you are. Yeah. So that's Asa Mahalla Pehla, yeah. So प्रभ दूर नाही प्रभ तू है. Yeah. I'm not going to read this next one. Yeah. ठीक है. Yeah. So हे गुरुआ आप कहते हो तू ब्रह्म स्वरूप है, तू ही प्रभु है. So the saying to the student that you are one with God and you are God actually. इसमें मेरे को यह शंका होवे है, जिसमें जीव ब्रह्म को भेद मालूम होवे है in इसमें. So the student's got a question now. Yeah, he's got it, and he's saying, can you explain this to me, how the difference of this? So this is a question he's got, Anna. So this is out of Vichar Saga. The question is, yeah, Shishke Chupoi ke tika hai. So this is the translation of what's just above from Vichar Sagar. Hey Bhagwan, मैं पुण्य पाप का करता हूँ. So he's saying, hey Bhagwan, so he's saying to his guru, am I the doer of bad actions and good actions, और उसका फल सुख दुख भोगता हूँ, and I also then undergo the sukh, the happiness or peace, pleasure, and the dukh, the anguish and pain of these things as well. Or janam maran pata hu, and then I go into lives and births and deaths in the cycle of 8.4 billion years. इस तरह लोक परलोक में आता जाता हूँ. So in this way I come to this world and then I go to the next world, afterlife. Yeah. Rag, dvesh. Rag is love, dvesh is hatred, hark, happiness, shok, sadness, को अनुभव करता हूँ. And then I always think in these modes. Yeah, happiness, hatred, yeah, love, yeah. और मैं ब्रह्म को जानता भी नहीं हूँ, and I do not know God. Yeah. और ब्रह्म ज्ञान के वास्ते गुरु की ज़रूरत रखता हूँ. Yeah. But I realize to get to ब्रह्म ज्ञान I need to have a guru. ये मेरे स्वभाव है. This is my character, personality. और मेरे से ब्रह्म के उल्टे स्वभाव हैं. But my characteristics and my personality is actually opposite of what God is. यानी ब्रह्म पुण्य पाप का करता नहीं. Meaning that God actually isn't the doer of good and bad things. Or sukh dukh ka bhogta nahi, and God doesn't undergo the sukh, so the pleasure, and the dukh, the pain, anguish, in the world that we do. Or janamata marta nahi, and he doesn't come into lives, births and deaths. इस लोक में तथा परलोक में आता जाता नहीं, and he doesn't come into this world, yeah, and come and go from it. ब्रह्म को स्व स्वरूप का अज्ञान नहीं. Yeah, so he's saying that I haven't got, sorry, one second. नहीं, और ज्ञान के वास्ते ब्रह्म को गुरु की ज़रूरत नहीं आते, ब्रह्म की और मेरी एकता नहीं बन सकती. So he's saying God doesn't come and go from the world, yeah, and God isn't also ignorant, yeah, and God doesn't need a guru. याते ब्रह्म की और मेरी एकता नहीं बन सकती. So he's saying that for these reasons I can't become one with God. So these are the questions and doubts he's got. याने मैं ब्रह्म स्वरूप नहीं हो सकता. I cannot become one with God is what he's saying. दूसरी शंका ये है. So his second question or his second doubt is कि बुद्धि रूपी वृक्ष में दो पंखी रहते हैं. So he's saying in my intellect it's as if there's two birds that live in that intellect. उनमें एक फल भोगे है. So one enjoys the fruits, दूसरा भोग रहित प्रकाश रूप और असंग रहता है, and the second one is devoid of enjoying anything and he remains aloof, let's say. ताते भी मेरी और उसकी एकता नहीं हो सकती. So he's saying I cannot become one with that as well. So what he's saying basically, if God is asang and doesn't get involved in any of these acts, I do though, so how can I become one with that? He's saying I can't. Yeah. Tisri Shanka, so his third Shanka, his third question. Yeah. Tisri Shanka, yeah. So where are we, oh man? I've lost it. Someone's fallen asleep in the room and so I've lost where I am now. Where's it gone? Where's the Bhakti? Tisri Shanka. Shanka, yeah है. बहुत प्रकार किया. Yeah. So his third question. वेद में बहुत प्रकार की उपासना और कर्म लिखे हैं. उनके करने वाला मैं हूँ और फल देने वाला ईश्वर है. याते भी हम दोनों ही एकता नहीं बन सकती. So his third question is, yeah. So in the Veds it teaches you to be do loads of acts of devotion, yeah, and tells you how to do behave in the way old karma likhe hai, unke karne wala main hu. So he's saying, I am the doer of all these acts, yeah? Or fal dene wala Ishwar hai, but God gives us the rewards of these acts, yeah? Yeah, so there's two that exist, yeah? But these two cannot become one, is what he's saying. They will remain forever twain, is what he means there, yeah? So that's his second doubt, yeah? Uttar Sri Guru Vach, yeah? So the answer of all these questions, yeah, from his Guru is this, yeah? Tu sakhi swarup hai, yeah? You, sakhi swarup means you are like a witness, yeah? You actually that. Parmat yane Jeev, प्रमाण यानी इंद्रिय प्रमेय यानी जगत तीनों को तू प्रकाश करने वाला है, yeah? So what it means is, yeah, the Jeev, the being, yeah, the indriya, so the senses of the body, yeah, and this world, yeah, all three of these things, yeah, you are the one who's created them. Prakash karne wala hai, yeah, yeah. So that Sakhi Swarup, that witness God, yeah, he's the one who's created all this, and you are one with that, yeah. Buddhi Roop Brikh mein ek tu asang prakash roop chetan rehta hai. So I'm saying, in your intellect, yes, yeah, you do stay devoid of these things, है ना, yeah. दूसरा तुम्हारा प्रतिबिंब यानी छाया अर्थात तेरा आभास जिसको परमात्मा की पी कहते हैं, जीव पी कहते हैं, yeah. So he's saying the second part of you, so the two the birds in the tree do exist. What it's saying is one is always avoid of any actions or anything, that's God, that's your spirit, that's your Atma. But he's saying is what you are is just like the shadow of that. So early on we did this, the pothi, I probably did that wrong in one of the earlier sessions. So what he's saying is we are actually like the Jeev, the being, is just like the shadow of it. So the shadow comes and goes, doesn't it, in the sun. So what it's saying is you really are, you are that Sakhi Sarupana, which is the witness God. ठीक है? Yeah. Where are we? So Jeev पुण्य पाप कर्म करे है. Yeah. So the Jeev, the being, does actually commit acts of good and bad, और सुख दुख भोगे है, and also does undergo happiness and anguish, or peace and pleasure. Janam varan ko tare hai, and then undergoes Janam varan as well. Lok parlok mein aave jaave hai, and he does come in this world and the next world as well, afterlife. Or tu jo sakhi hai, but you who is the witness, tu punna paap ka karta nahi, sukh dukh ka bhogta nahi. But that sakhi, that witness form of you, yeah, that doesn't undergo punna and paap, yeah, and it doesn't do acts, yeah, and it doesn't enjoy or undergo pain and pleasure. Jaram maran ko tarta nahi, and it doesn't also undergo birth and death. Tate tu Brahm Swarup hai. So you are really that Swarupana of God. Buddhi mein jo teri shaya hai, so karma kare hai. Yeah. So in your intellect, the acts that you do, yeah, they are just basically your shadow. Usko jeev कहते हैं, and that's what we call a jeev, yes, that's what we call a being, yeah. और माया में जो तेरी छाया है जिसको ईश्वर कहते हैं, yeah, and that shaya that we call in Maya, that exists on your shadow, we call that in the creation Ishwarana, so we call that God in creation, Ishwar. ठीक है? Does that make sense?
So there are two parts to us.
Yeah, but one's a shadow. Shadow doesn't always stay, does it?
But that's the God bit.
Yeah, but let it carry on from here. Let it carry on, because it's going to carry on. So this is like quite hard going, but you have to hear it all first to get it through, So Shaya Rupi Ishwar Jeevo ko karmo ka phala deve hai. Yes, what it's saying is that God in creation, which is called Ishwar, which is like the shadow that we talked about, yeah, that's what gives the rewards or the deserts for your actions. Tate karma karne wala tu jeev nahi. So you are not that jeev who's doing these acts, yeah, who's acting, yeah. Or karma phala dene wala tu Ishwar nahi. But you are also not that Ishwar in creation who gives the rewards for those acts, yeah. Yo dono teri shaya hai. Both of these are your actual.
Who am I then?
Just chill. Just wait to listen, yeah. So both of these are actually your shadow, yeah. Shaya wali sakhi brahm tu hai, yeah. So what it's saying is you are like the witness. That's what you are, yeah. that exists, yeah, that's what God, that's the God that you are, है ना. इस प्रकार तू अपने को ब्रह्म रूप जिस वक्त जानेगा, so when you realize you are the actual God, है ना, who's devoid of all these things, उस वक्त तू सुखी शांत हो जाएगा, you will become happy and peaceful and realize pleasure and get divine wisdom. ऐसा उपदेश सुन के शिष्य अपने को ब्रह्म रूप निश्चय करके सुखी होता पाया. So the student then started believing in himself as God. Now, does that make sense to you? Yeah? और इसी तरह जीव पने का परम स्वेकेतु को होता पाया. So स्वेकेतु also believed he was a Jeev or wasn't God, yeah. स्वेकेतु का पिता उदालक ऋषि था. So स्वेकेतु, these people, you can find their writings in the Upanishads, in the Vedas, yeah. So उदालक ऋषि was स्वेकेतु's dad. उसने तत्वमसि महावाक्य उपदेश दे कर जीव परम तोड़या, yeah. So his father taught him a vak from the Vedas which is called Tattvamasi, which means you are the essence. You are the essence of everything, which is the essence, yeah, which is God, yeah. So by practicing that, realizing that you are the essence of everything, he got over that. स्वेकेतु को दुखी देखकर उसका पिता उदालक उसको ये प्रथम अभ्यास कराता पाया. So this is the first thing he taught him. He said, realize that you are the essence of everything and practice this, yeah. हे सौम्य तेरा आत्मा साखी चेतन सृष्टि से पहले भी सत था. So his saying is, son of mine, yeah, your atma, your soul, which is like a witness, which is chetan, which has got all power in it, yeah. सृष्टि से पहले भी सत था, it existed before the creation, yeah. वही सत साखी चेतन सारे जगत का आधार और अधिष्ठान है, yeah. That same witness group of God, yeah, is what the whole world relies on, yeah, on his energy. यानी जगत को पैदा करता है और प्रलय करता है. So he creates the world and he also destroys the world. सृष्टि पहले तू सत रूप था. So before the creation you were true, yeah, you existed. फिर तेने सृष्टि रचकर इस सृष्टि में अभिमान करके तू जीव होकर दुखी हो गया है. So what it's saying is, when the creation was created, yeah, you then believed, yeah, you got pride and you believed that you existed, and then you became a being, yeah, and then you became in pain and anguish from this ignorance. और अपना नाम यज्ञ दत्त देव दत्त धर के और मनुष्य देवता आदि रूप धार कर इसमें अभिमान करके के ये ही मैं हूँ और जन्म मरण को धार रहा हूँ. So through this ego, you then named yourself different names, called yourself a human being, called yourself a god or an angel, etc., etc. And through this pride, yeah, then you got stuck in birth and death. परंतु ये सब तेरे को भ्रम हो रहा है. But this is all a doubt. This actually doesn't exist. सुखोपति अवस्था में यह भ्रम दूर हो जाता है, यह और भ्रमी को जो तू सत में अभेद हो जाता है अपना रूप कश नहीं देखता है, यह सुखोपति स्वप्न सुखोपति, yeah. Sukhopati is basically deep sleep, है ना, yeah. In deep sleep, yeah, you only think of God. You don't realize anything, yeah. You don't remember anything, so you're just one with God at that point, yeah, yeah. So what it's saying is, like in deep sleep, when God doesn't exist, nothing exists, yeah. You don't then realize, you don't think you're anyone, do you? You don't think you're sleeping. You're just one with God, है ना. So it's just using an example, है ना. और भ्रमी को जो तू सत में अभेद हो जाता है अपना रूप कश नहीं देखता है. You don't realize who you are. You don't realize you're sleeping on your bed. So you don't realize anything, but you're happy then, aren't you? You're not sad. So he's saying when you interact with the world, that's when you get sadness or agyan, ignorance, yeah. Yeah, so the next पंक्ति, I'm going to do the अर्थ underneath here. अर्थात सुखोपति में सुख स्वरूप द्वैत रहत प्रकाश स्वरूप जो है जिसको वेद सत रूप करके कहता है. So it's saying that सुखोपति, that deep sleep, yeah, yeah, it says that's true. ऐसे जो सत ब्रह्म स्वरूप है जिसको तू अपने आप की ओर नहीं धारण करता, Yeah, so he's saying, why don't you believe that you actually that God, Hannah, who's like a deep sleep? Yeah, why don't you believe in that? Shankar Sveketu ki. Yeah, so Sveketu, now he's saying to his father, Hey Pita, or father of mine, जो आपने सुखोपति में सब जीव सत में मिल जाते हैं. So he's saying all beings become one with God in that deep sleep. ऐसे कहा है यानी सब जीव अपना मनुष्य देवता पशु पंखी आदि को छोड़कर और नाम रूप को मिटाकर जेकर सुखोपति में सब जीव साथ में आकर मिलते हैं तो हम जानते क्यों नहीं. ना कोई कहता है ना कोई सिमरन करता है ना किसी को अनुभव है. So what he's saying is, if all these animals and all these beings become one with God in deep sleep, why don't they then say that that's what we are, one with God at that point? And then why don't they do simran of that? Yeah, but we none of us realise this, is what his question is. Why don't we realise this? Yeah. And then it's got another pankti here, but anyway, ऐसे पुत्र को संदेह युक्त देखकर दूसरा अभ्यास कहते पे. Yeah, so hearing this question from his son, he then teaches a second lesson. और पुत्र को मक्खियों का मखियाल दिखाते पे. So he's showing his son a nest of flies, let's say, है ना? Beehive, okay, sorry, beehive. के जिस तरह इस सेहत में जाने माखी में सब फूलों के रस अपने अपने फूल वृक्ष पत्तों को छोड़कर सेहत में आके इकट्ठे हुए हैं. So it's saying the bees fly out, go to different flowers, pull out the honey and then bring it back here. Yeah. पर बुद्धि के अभाव से याने जार होने करके जानते नहीं थे हम अपने अपने फूलों को छोड़कर माखी में इकट्ठे हुए हैं. Yeah. So he's saying that they do this, but still they don't realise, yeah, that we've left the different flowers and come here, Hannah, and got together, yeah. ऐसे सब जीव सुषुप्ति में बुद्धि के अभाव से जानते नहीं. So it's saying in the same way, in the deep sleep, you don't know, a lot of people don't know कि हम अपने मनुष्य देवादि शरीरों को छोड़कर साथ में आकर इकट्ठे हुए हैं. Yeah, that they've all realised the same state at that point, yeah. ना जानने से वस्तु का अभाव नहीं हो गए. Yeah, so they don't realize that. याते जिस सत में आके सब जीव इकट्ठे होते हैं सो सत्स्वरूप तू है. इस तरह पुत्र के ताई दूसरा अभ्यास कहता पेहा. Yeah, so he's now teaching the second lesson to his son to why this occurs. फिर स्वे केतु तो को शंका होती पे सत में प्रवेश करने वक्त यद्यप जीव जानता नहीं परंतु उठने काल में क्यों नहीं जान के हम सत से अब बाहर जावे और बाहर जाके एक कर्म कमावे. इस प्रकार की शंका सुनकर पुत्र के ताई तीसरा अभ्यास कहते पे. Yeah, so the third lesson now starts, or the third example of him asking the question around that why when we get up don't we realise that we've actually been one with God at that point. Yeah, and that's the question, and we're going to stop there. Hanji,
I don't understand the bee example.
I didn't understand it as well, to be fair, but that's what it says there, so I've translated it the best I could. It didn't make sense to me as well.
Like, I don't get what the bee forgets.
I don't know. So he says here, जार होने करके जानते नहीं है ते हम अपने अपने फूलों को छोड़कर माखी में से इकट्ठे हुए हैं.
They don't realise they've left their flower to enjoy the honey, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes,
Bibi says yes.
that is what it says.
Yeah, so there, I got it wrong.
Oh my god, why are we leaving our flower? That makes sense.
Yeah, so they're taking that same honey to the den, to the hive, but they could have just enjoyed it there.
Yeah, the flower.
Yeah, I understood that at that point. Might have explained it right. Alright, that's enough, yeah? Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji. What page is that? 81, Anna?
Yeah.
81.
81.
Where's the charger lead come from here? No. No.
Hmm?
The leaves here.